Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So this is the second part. Last time we looked at Northern Europe on this ASMR roadmap. And as promised, today we're going to look at Southern Europe. I hope you find the video, at the very least, relaxing and informative, educational perhaps. Let's open up the map and take a look at what we didn't get around to seeing in the last video when we focused on the north. Okay, so this is the very bottom right corner of the map, and we can see here as the index. You can just see Istanbul popping into view just here. So this is the European part of Turkey, and of course not only is Turkey itself a pan-continental, Asia and Europe, pan-continental country, but the city of Istanbul is also pan-continental, which is quite an incredible feat. And also, if you include it as Europe, I think we did a video on this last month. If you include all of Istanbul, then it's really, is it like the second most populated city, or the first, I can't remember, in Europe. But if you just take the European part, it's like third or fourth or something. And then you've got the peninsula here, which is officially part of Asia. You've got quite a few of these islands, but actually a lot of the islands here, take a look, are Greek. So where's Rhodes? Rhodes is down here actually. I've been to Rhodes. And Karpathos, just in view. And this is Crete, isn't it? Iraklio is here. Chania. I was reading something for a video on, I think it was my Italian channel or my Spanish, earlier this evening actually when I was doing my recording, and it said that with regard to Greece, 50% of all of the population of Greece lives in Athens or around it. And apart from there, I think it's like Thessaloniki is one of the more populated places, and Crete. I don't know what percentage of the population lives in Crete, but I thought it was a very interesting stat. So we've got Greece here, and it goes onto the border with Turkey. It also borders with Bulgaria, North Macedonia as it was renamed. It used to be the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, but this area here is called Macedonia in Greece, and so they came to an agreement that if North Macedonia was its name, it would make more sense than this is Macedonia, this is North Macedonia. That does mean that Cyprus is not in. Yeah, Cyprus is just a bit further down, so that's not in view. And I can't see any box containing it. So I haven't forgotten you, Cyprus. Malta is only very slightly in view, just here. The islands of Gozo and Valletta's the city, right? So Gozo and I don't know what the other one's called. Valletta as well. So yes, this is Greece. Then we have Albania here. Tirana is the capital. Where is it? Tirana. And then we have, as you said, Bulgaria, North Macedonia. We have Kosovo here, capital of which is Pristina. Lots of countries still don't recognize Kosovo's existence, including Spain and Russia. But most of the European countries do. Montenegro is here. Podgorica is here. If I'm correct, Podgorica I think means like below the mountain or at the foot of the mountain. And Montenegro means in Latin black mountain. So that's Montenegro there. Serbia is of course here. Beograd or Belgrade is the capital. Novi Sad is another large city that's in the northern section of Vojvodina. I've always wanted to visit Serbia. Seems like a very beautiful place. And then we've got Romania. I definitely want to visit Romania. Romania. The sound because of the accent on the A. Romania. I'm always shocked that there aren't more large cities on the coast. There's only really Constanza in terms of large urban areas. And it's a very large country in general. One of the larger ones in the European Union, actually. I think along with Poland, Romania is one of those ones that within the European Union you don't quite realise how large the population is. I was looking at which languages I'd like to learn a couple of years ago, and both Polish and Romanian came up as being very useful for several reasons. One of which is because both languages are highly spoken in the UK. There are, particularly Polish, there are a lot of Polish people, particularly in Wales, where I live, but also Romanians. Romanian is also a beautiful language. I speak Spanish, French, Portuguese and Italian, so Romanian is just a beautiful meld of all those, with a little bit of Slavic languages thrown in for fun and a tiny bit of Turkish as well. It sounds very beautiful. The capital is here, Bucharest. It's a place I really wanted to visit. A friend of mine comes from Cluj-Napoca, which is up here. It's actually the capital of this region, which is Transylvania, which you've probably heard of for the stories. And he identifies as being Hungarian because I believe that this part, before a reformation of the borders around World War II time, was actually part of Hungary, I believe. And so there are quite a lot of Hungarian speakers and people who identify as being Hungarian rather than Romanian. It's quite complicated when a country changes their borders overnight about who you identify as, which languages you speak, etc. As I was saying, Romania has a very large population, and after, say, in the European Union, the context of the European Union, after France, Germany, and then Spain, Romania and Poland are not far behind Spain in terms of number of people in their countries, and therefore, and obviously Italy. So I think number one, if a population in the EU is Germany, number two is France, number three is Italy. massive mistake. Yeah, I think I'm right. And then it's Spain. But then not far behind them is Poland and Romania. So yeah, they are, in terms of which languages have the most speakers, you'd be quite shocked, really. You'd think that Spanish would be really high up on the list, but in Europe, in the context of Europe, only Spain speaks Spanish. Lots of countries speak French, lots of countries speak German. So actually the number of Romanian speakers and the number of Polish speakers is not far behind Spanish speakers in Europe, or in the European Union. So that's Romania, and Moldova is here. So I have a Romanian friend at work. I work in a very international organisation. So I always say, oh, I've got a friend from this country, got a friend from that country. I was sitting down for lunch the other day, and I was sat with a Portuguese person, a Brazilian, a Uruguayan, my friend from Romania who identifies as Hungarian, and a French person. It was very international. So my other colleague, who is from this part of Romania, once said to me, I said, where are you from? And she said, I'm from Moldova. And so I automatically asked her questions about the country of Moldova. And after several sort of confused moments, we worked out what had happened, and this part of Romania is actually called Moldova, similar to the whole Macedonia, North Macedonia thing. So Moldova was this area here, Transylvania was this one, and then I think that was called something else. So Romania, 3 areas came together, but Moldova, a section of Moldova broke away. So yes, this is Moldova, the country, capital of which is Chisinau, just here. And then there's Tiraspol, which is the capital of the non-recognized country of Transnistria, which is just here. I think I'm right in saying that after Russia, Ukraine is the largest country in Europe. I think it beats France, particularly if you don't include France's overseas territories, if you just talk about the European section of France. I think Ukraine might be bigger. And its capital is here, Kiev. Just a shot. Let me fold it up. So Kiev is just here, on the Dnieper River. And it mostly shows us on this map the western part of Ukraine with Lviv, Ternopil, Kamyanets, Podilsky, etc. And then to the north we have Belarus, the capital of which is Minsk, which is the dead center of Belarus. And it borders with the tiny bit of Russia that we can see in this video. We can just about see the city of Smolensk, but that's it. And in the previous video we looked at Estonia, Latvia and a little bit of Lithuania, so I don't need to go over Lithuania too much today. This we talked about last time as well, which is the northern western, part of Russia, Kaliningrad. So then if we look a little bit to the center, we have Poland, which we've spoken a little bit of, and we saw the northern part of in the last video, with Gdansk on the coast and Gdynia, for example, in Szczecin. But this time we can also see Płock, Warszawa, the capital, Warsaw, Białystok is here, and then we got Radom, heard an American pronounce it Krakow once. I think in English we might call it Krakow. I can't really think in British English what we pronounce. It's Kraków in Polish. Kielce, Częstochowa, Zabrze, excuse me, Chorzów, Gliwice, Wrocław, and yeah, lots of places. I'll be visiting Poland soon, I hope. It's one place I want to check out. And, Łódź, I nearly forgot Łódź. Just there. And if we look, be very careful not to make lots of noise. We can see Czechia here. Used to call it the Czech Republic, but it's renamed itself as Czechia. Praha is here in the center, very beautiful place. And Hradec Králové, Ostrava, Plzeň, where they make the good Pilsen beer. České Budějovice and Brno. Some notable places. Just to the north, not far from the border with Poland. And we'll see when I turn the page in a minute, but it's on the border with Germany mostly. And that borders with Slovakia. And when I was a child, they were one country called Czechoslovakia. The capital is over here, Bratislava. Really close, I've spoken about this before, really close to the Austrian capital of Vienna, Wien, and not far from Budapest. So this is Hungary. And an S in Hungarian. My Hungarian's very bad, but I know that an S is pronounced sh. So it's Budapest. And I went there, spent New Year there with my friends during university. Because of course you get like a month off for Christmas. So we went to Budapest for a week and spent New Year there. I loved it. And so this is Hungary. Hungary speaks the language called Hungarian, which is, I don't even think is regarded as a European language in some respects. Well, it's European, it's not Indo-European. It's not really related to any of the languages around it. Historically, it's closer to Estonian and Finnish, but in no way intelligible to them. So it's a little bit of a strange island, Hungarian, in amongst lots of Slavic languages here, and Romanian itself is an oddity in the fact that it's a Latin language surrounded by Slavic languages and Hungarian. So we've seen Poland, Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Czechia. Let's focus on this area then. We looked at Serbia. Bosnia is next. So Bosnia is here. The joke online with people who are interested in geography is that apart from, where is it? There. This is the coastline of Bosnia. All of the other coast is technically Croatia. So this is like tiny slip of land here which touches the sea. So this is the coastline of Bosnia. And Bosnia, the capital is, where are you? Sarajevo. And then, as I said, giving it a warm hug is Croatia in this C shape. Zagreb is up here, the capital, but actually two of the more populated cities are down on this coastline. And a lot of the islands, it's become in the last heavily visited, has this split. Beautiful beaches. And then you've got Slovenia, which I went to visit Ljubljana, the capital. Maribor is up this part here. And I was reading about Koper on the coast where Italian is used, because it used to be a part of the Kingdom of Venice, I think. And in fact this whole area here basically used to be a part of sort of Italy, if you will, at some point in the history. So Slovenia is here, and I went to Ljubljana and I found it absolutely wonderful. The food was amazing. It does take cuisines from all the countries around it, like you can have schnitzel, pasta, you can have Hungarian food. I was trying to think of the dish that's very popular in Hungary. Oh, it slipped my mind. But yeah, you can just basically get all of those amazing cuisines in the same place, in the same restaurant, for example, in Slovenia. And then we move to Austria. Now we've already seen Vienna, which is here, Wien, as it says. And it's a very mountainous country. Salzburg is here, Linz is there. So it is a German-speaking country. Graz is there. Innsbruck is there. But the Austrian version of German is arguably a dialect. In some respects, it is regarded as a different variety of German altogether. Maybe the Austrian or German speakers in general can weigh in on this. Would you say it's a different language, or is it a dialect? So Austria is there, bordering a little bit with Czechia, Slovakia, Hungary and Slovenia, as well as Italy. And then popping into view we have Switzerland. And we can't forget Liechtenstein, which is just here. It's absolutely tiny. Capital is Vaduz. And yeah, so Switzerland is another mountainous country, lots of inland lakes. They speak French over this part, Italian over this part, actually over this part, Lucano. German in the north part. And there's a fourth language, which is an old Latin language. And I've heard it, and I don't understand it at all, despite being an Italian and Spanish speaker. It's very unusual. And I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Anyway, Liechtenstein is here. They're a German-speaking country as well. Germany to the north and Italy to the south. Let's take a look north first. So we took a look at the northern coast of Germany in the last video, so I'm not going to focus on it too much. We saw Berlin, so let's focus on the bottom half. We have Leipzig in what was Eastern Germany, Dresden, Chemnitz, Potsdam. And then you've got central Germany, which is, compared to the west, fairly low in its population. Hamburg in the north there, Bremen, Hanover. And then you have this area which you can barely read all the names because there are so many cities there. And this is the most populated area in the whole of the European Union. Particularly if you widen the circle, so it includes Rotterdam and parts of Belgium and northern France. If you sort of say that this circle here has more people living in it than, or the same or something crazy like that, than the rest, it's because we have Dortmund here Gladbach, Düsseldorf. Then we have Bonn, Mainz, Frankfurt. Really, really large urban areas. And then we've got Nuremberg there, Stuttgart, very pretty city there, I'd like to go and visit someday. Freiburg, Augsburg, and München. I think I've been there once or twice. München, very nice city. And then the south. So we have Italy, Italia. So in terms of population, we do have more living in the north than in the south. And this area of Torino, Milan and Genova, which is a little triangle, is the sort of powerhouse of, I suppose I want to say, commerce and manufacturing in the whole country. But also Torino and Milan have got huge populations. We also have Lake Como, the northern point here, and not far from Lugano in Switzerland. Lecco is here as well. Como is here. Very beautiful area of the country. We've got the border with France here. Sanremo on the coast. Genova we spoke about, La Spezia. Over on this coast we have Trieste, just the sliver of land going down between the coast and Slovenia. Obviously very famous Venice, Venezia, in its lagoon, where they're having to limit the amount of tourists that are in the city. Also famously the island doesn't have any cars on it, doesn't have any roads as such, and everyone travels by boat. Lots of cities to note here: Brescia, Trento, Vicenza, Verona, Padua, Treviso, I think it said there. Then you got Udine, Bergamo, Monza, Novara, Piacenza, Modena, Parma, Reggio nell'Emilia, Ferrara. Just looking for a couple that I feel are worth noting but I haven't seen. Bologna. And Firenze. Florence. Beautiful. Bologna and Florence, absolutely stunning. I really want to visit them. The tiny country of San Marino. Here. Livorno. And as we go down the coast we have Roma, the capital, obviously Rome. Within which is the country of Città del Vaticano, or Vatican City, which is where the Pope lives. And then if you continue down the coast, we have Napoli, Naples. Very beautiful area of the world with the island of Capri, Castellammare, Salerno. Pompeii is in this area as well. The volcano and the city that was ruined by the volcano erupting. Pescara is here. Then we have Foggia. And as we go down the boot, we see Bari, Brindisi, Lecce, Bari's here, Taranto, Catanzaro, Reggio di Calabria, Messina. then the two islands in Italy are here. Well, the two large islands. This is Sicily, with Palermo, amongst other places, Catania, Siracusa. And the second island over here, which is Sardinia, Cagliari, Sassari. And not to be included in them is Corsica, La Corse, which is a part of France. Okay, let me quietly fold up this section so I can show you the final part. Okay, so we have the Netherlands. We saw the top of that in the last video. Rotterdam, Amsterdam, Dordrecht, The Hague. And then we've got Belgium. Brussels is here. Belgium, similar to Switzerland, has 3 languages. Flemish, a version of Dutch spoken in the north. French, spoken in the south. But in the far east of the country, German, around Aachen. Then you've got France, La France. Enormous country, really. Lots of coastline. Normandy, Brittany. You can see Dunkirk, here Calais, where most of the boats between Britain, England and France go. Then you've also got Lille, to the north here, Valenciennes. See if I can find Metz is over here, Nancy as well. Strasbourg is just over to the west, sorry, the east here. Massive city of Paris, since Britain left the EU, and therefore London is no longer the largest city in the EU. Paris is now number 1 in terms of population of metropolitan Paris, so the outskirts included, because actually the city lines are quite narrow at Paris, so if you only include the strict centre, it's not as big, but a large number of people live in the metropolitan area. And then we've got Le Mans, Le Havre, Saint-Malo. That was a very important port. Brest, just out here in Brittany. This is where some people still speak a language called Breton, which is the sister language of my language of Welsh. So we spoke about that a little bit last time, where we said that Cornwall, Wales and Brittany had a language family amongst them. Lorient, Rennes, Angers, Bordeaux is down here, La Rochelle, beautiful, Tours, and then when you come down you'll see Lyon. Lyon's not too far away from Switzerland. Lyon's a very beautiful Roman town. Saint-Étienne is here. Grenoble. I always seem to remember Grenoble because of the nuclear power plant when I was a kid. Was there a problem with it or something? I can't remember. And then there's a lot of cities as you get to the south of France. But first let's look at Monaco, which is not a city, it's actually a country. So Monaco is a principality that's basically a sort of a part of France. I don't understand the system exactly, but... And then you've got Nice, beautiful place, Cannes for the film festival, and Toulon, and Marseille, stunning city. Another, well, it predates the Romans actually. I think Marseille does, doesn't it? Phoenicians maybe? Montpellier, Nîmes, Avignon, Valence, Toulouse, Pau, this is rugby land now, Perpignan, and Bayonne. And then we get into lovely Spain, of course. So, it doesn't have a little box with the islands, the Canary Islands, unfortunately, but it does have the 3 Balearic Islands here, oh, 4, Formentera, Ibiza, Mallorca and Minorca. Palma is the capital of Mallorca. Then you have Andorra, which is an independent nation. I think the actual official language is Catalan, but Spanish and French are also spoken widely. It's mostly popular for tourists for skiing. And then we've got the eastern coast, where Barcelona is, Sabadell, as well as Terrassa, Tarragona, Lleida, Girona, Mataró, Badalona. Barcelona is the most visited city in Spain for tourism. I used to go there all the time with school trips. I've seen it so many times. Zaragoza, beautiful old city. Pamplona, where they do the running of the bulls. Vitoria-Gasteiz, this is now Basque country. So Baracaldo, Bilbao, Eibar, Donostia, San Sebastian. Right on the coast with, right on the border, and on the coast, the Bay of Biscay. Notoriously very tricky waters for fishermen, the Bay of Biscay. Choppy seas. Santander, Gijón, Oviedo. And then you've got the northern section of Spain here, which is Galicia. It rains a lot. It's very green, very rugged coastlines. And people go there for a different type of holiday. It's not just sort of... When people associate Spain with holidays, they often think, oh, you know, sun, sand, beaches. But actually, it's very green and wet. A Coruña is here, Pico is here, Santiago de Compostela, where you can go on pilgrimages here. León. Madrid, the capital, which is its capital because it's right in the center of the country. It's actually up on a plateau, so it's very hot in the summer and very, very cold in the winter. Salamanca, Valladolid, Burgos, Badajoz. Then back to the coastline, you've got Valencia, stunning city here. Alicante, Murcia, I used to live in Murcia. And very touristy, lots of expats, British living in this area on the coast. And then you've got Almeria, Granada, Malaga, lots of British people living there as well. Córdoba, Jerez de la Frontera, Cádiz, Algeciras, Gibraltar's here, which legally is part of the UK. Bit of a weird situation, I don't really understand it. Ceuta and Melilla are Spanish colonies, exclaves in this is Morocco, North Africa. And Sevilla, a city I really want to visit. It is the hottest city in Spain though. Murcia is the driest, Sevilla is the hottest, so I'll have to go there in like December, because I'm not very good with the heat. Stunning, and I think it used to be the capital of Spain at one point. Very beautiful. Albacete is just there. Where else have I missed? Getafe, Alcalá de Henares, Salamanca, Valladolid. And then, last but not least, we have Portugal. So Portugal, most of the people, because there's quite high mountains there, most of the people actually live on the coast of Portugal. Porto is here, the second city, stunning city, and Lisboa, is down here. And most people live in those areas as well as in the south. Lisbon is a really beautiful place. I highly recommend visiting. I spent the summer there once when I was doing my degree in Spanish and Portuguese. I spent 3 weeks doing a language course in Lisbon and it was just wonderful. Very nice place to spend the summer. It's on the Atlantic, so it's not as hot as if it were in the Mediterranean, but it's still really warm. Lovely. Braga is there. Chaves is there. Coimbra. And then you go down the south. Lagos. Faro. Albufeira. It's a bit touristy down the south though. And that's that. So, probably had a million other things I wanted to say but didn't get around to it. I hope you enjoyed this two-part video of North and South Europe using a road map. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to click like. Do subscribe if this is your first time, and if it's not, then do what a couple of other people have done this month and join me on Patreon for extra videos. And leave me a comment, particularly if I made any mistakes with my facts. And correct me, and give me more facts. Thank you so much for all your support. Take care everyone, and I will see you again very, very soon.